If you're tired of having this underarm fat, even though you've tried dieting and arm workouts, well, after losing 70 pounds myself and coaching several online weight loss clients, I have noticed that this is one of the most stubborn areas for people to lose fat. But luckily, there is a way to fix this. So in this video, I'm gonna tell you why this area is so stubborn, the big mistake that most people are making, and a 4-step system and plan that you need to follow to actually fix this. So first, let's talk about the 3 big reasons that are contributing to this area being so dang stubborn. Reason number 1 is actually the most common reason, and your genetics have a big role to play in this. But you can control this. Most people have excess fat in this area, and I want you to think about this like money. Everybody has a couple different bank accounts. You have a savings account, a checking account, maybe you have money in investments, but most people, when they are going to buy something, pull from that one account or maybe even use a credit card. But you pull from that one account first. Then, if that account were to get depleted of money, you would then pull from the next one. Or maybe, honestly, depending on what you're buying, you might pull from 2 different accounts depending on what the scenario is. Your fat works the same exact way, and your genetics play a role in this. Some people lose fat faster in other areas than others. So you will notice some people will lose fat faster off their chest, off their back, maybe off their arms or their thighs, or they even gain fat quicker in some of these areas. And this is solely based off of your genetics, but you can still lose fat from all these areas. You just might have to pull from the savings account first before you can get to the checking account. I want you to take a look at this picture. You probably are going to notice that you have people in your life that look like this. You have areas where you see people hold more fat in their stomach, or you have ones where you see people hold more fat in their butt or their thighs, or people hold more fat in their upper body or their back. You're going to notice that everybody has a little bit of a body map where they hold more fat. They store more in that area. And this is based off your genetics, but you can still lose fat from these areas, which we're gonna talk about later in the video. But this is why you shouldn't be comparing yourself to your friends, your family, or people you see online, because they are going to look different than you, and that is just how that they are. But like I said, you can still control this, which we're gonna be talking about later in the video. But first, let's talk about reason number 2, why it is so stubborn. Most people sit here and say they want toned arms, but the reality is toned isn't like a sciencey term. When people say they want toned arms, or you're thinking, I really want to have my arms look like that person, what you're really saying is that you want to have less fat on your arms and you want to have more muscle on your arm. I want you to think about fat as soft and muscle as hard. You could even think about this like a pillow. You have 2 different kinds of pillows. You're gonna have a squishy, a really fluffy, soft pillow. That is gonna be the fat. Or you're gonna have a pillow like a memory foam pillow. It's a little firmer. You see it has more shape to it. It looks even a little stiffer. It looks more defined. That pillow is what toned looks like. That's gonna be the one that has more muscle on it. So when people sit here and they say they want toned arms, you are seeing someone have less fat and ultimately have more muscle on their arm. You would be shocked that even adding just a little bit of muscle on your arms is going to make a massive difference when it comes to the look that you want and not having that underarm fat that you see. But like I said, later we're gonna be talking about exactly how you can build muscle in this area, but let's talk about the 3rd reason of why this area is so stubborn. There have been times on accident that I have put on my fiance's shirt that she has the exact same one as mine, and it's super tight. And if I were to wear that all day, that shirt would start to stretch. And if she then put it on, it would probably be a little baggy. I would have stretched that shirt out. Or I want you to think about a balloon. If you were to have a brand new balloon, it would be tight. It would be smaller. Now, if I blew that balloon up to be really big, before it popped, I blew it up to be really big, and then I let all the air out, that balloon would start to be stretched more. And this can happen to your arms. If you are someone, this happened to me, myself included, I lost 70 pounds and I have this on my stomach. But if you were someone who had lost a substantial amount of weight, you can have some loose skin. When I lost 70 pounds, I carry a lot of weight in my stomach, right? In my love handles area. Now, I have a little bit of loose skin in that area, which is totally normal and okay. And I think a lot of people get discouraged and think like, oh, that's fat on my body, when in reality, it just might be a little bit of loose skin. But like I said, there are ways to improve this by adding muscle onto your body, which we're going to be talking about later. Because if you add muscle, it starts to fill up that area and make it more dense, make it more full looking, make it more look defined. Now you know why this area is stubborn. Let's talk about one of the biggest mistakes that most people are making. You're probably randomly doing arm exercises, hoping that this area gets toned, or you pick exercises just praying that it's going to tone that area of your muscle and target fat within that area. Well, I want you to think about your body like this vase. Everybody has different shapes of vases. Now, if I were to slowly dump water out of this vase, you are going to see that it is going to be decreasing. I don't get to pick where I dump the water out. I don't get to be like, oh, I want water out of this curve to be dumped out, or I want water out of the top of this curve or the lower part of this curve. Your body fat works the same exact way. You don't get to just do random arm exercises and target fat in that area. You lose fat overall on your body when you start to decrease in fat. And this is how it works. So you're going to be losing some fat from your face. You're going to be losing some from your stomach, from your arms, your thighs, your glutes. But like I said, with genetics, some people lose a little bit more at a little bit faster, almost like a multiplier or an increased rate. They'll lose more from that area first. But if you keep losing fat over time, it eventually is going to come off your arms. So now that you understand you can't spot reduce fat and that your body works like a vase and you can't just take water out of a specific area, you lose fat overall on your body. Well, if you're tired of guessing and don't know how to do this to get rid of that underarm fat, then I have a 4-step system and plan that you can use to lose fat and build muscle in that area. Step number 1, you need to be in a calorie deficit. What is a calorie deficit? You burn a set amount of calories each day. We call this your maintenance calories. This is the amount of calories that you burn just to keep your body alive, to keep you moving throughout the day. If you were to eat less calories than you burn on a daily basis, you would be in what we call a calorie deficit. And one of the best ways that you can do this is by using a calorie calculator to determine what your maintenance calories is and also determine how many calories you should be eating to lose fat. And I have a whole free calorie calculator that you can use, plus a free mini course with it to help optimize fat loss for you, because most people aren't giving you this bonus free mini course where I actually teach you how to use these calories numbers to lose fat. If you want access to that, you can just click the link in the description, completely free. Because once you learn how to track your calories and get into a calorie deficit, your body will start taking energy from stored body fat, which is what we want to start losing fat over time and eventually it coming off your arm. Step number 2, I want you to do arm exercises. Most people will sit and do bicep curls. They sit and they curl weights. Well, here's the interesting part. Your bicep, so right on the top of your arm, this makes up 30% of the area on your arm, whereas the back of your arm or your tricep actually makes up about 70% of your arm. So most people ignore the 70% of your arm. So yes, you should be doing exercises that are going to use your bicep like curls, but you should also be doing exercises that are going to be using your triceps. I'm gonna pop up a couple different tricep exercises that you can be doing to help build muscle within this area beyond just doing curls. Now, most people would stop at step 2 and they would make a massive mistake by not continuing on to step 3. Step number 3, progress your exercises. I want you to think about it like this. If you were to take a grocery bag, it weighed the same exact weight and you picked this up every single day, it would get to a point where it's very easy because you aren't challenged anymore. Whereas if I were to add just a little bit of weight every single day to that bag, you would start to progress. You would get stronger. You would add a little bit of muscle because over time you are progressing by picking up that bag. You doing your arm workouts works the exact same way. You need to make sure that you are progressing your workouts. Most people make a massive mistake of taking their 5 to 10 pound dumbbells that they have at home and doing the same exact exercises, the same exact number of reps, and the same exact weight for years on end. So this is exactly what I want you to do. I want you to take your 5-pound dumbbell. You're gonna do 8 reps. And once you can get to a point where you can do 12 reps with good form, then you need to increase the weight to 8 or 10 pounds. And then you are going to repeat this process. You are going to do 8 reps at it, and maybe the next week you do 9 reps, then 10 reps, and then eventually you'll get to 12 reps. Once you get to those 12 reps, you're going to increase the weight again and decrease the reps, and you will repeat this process. Because what you're going to notice is happening is you are challenging your muscles. And when you challenge your muscles, they start to grow because you are giving your body a reason to build muscle and hold on to that muscle. If you don't do this, you're going to get stuck in this trap of never having those toned arms and never actually putting on muscle in this area, which is a trap a lot of people tend to fall into, and they end up just having that skinny fat look on their arm. It's also a great idea if you're getting bored to change up these exercises occasionally to keep it fresh, because it is boring to do the same exact thing every single day over and over and over again. Also, I would recommend that you don't do this every single day. You do other exercises as well, like you're doing bench presses, you're doing rows, you're doing squats, you're doing any sort of pull down exercise. You are doing other exercises and you're just including these into your workout and doing them roughly anywhere from 2 to 3 times a week. This is going to allow your body to have time to recover, because one of the best things that you need to be doing is after you break down that muscle, you need to allow it time to recover, which leads me into step 4 that you need to be doing that a lot of people will avoid, which is going to be eating high protein. If you just tear down that muscle without repairing it and rebuilding it, then you're never going to get to a point where you can add muscle to your arm. And you need to give it the nutrients to do so, and your muscle needs protein. So a very easy calculation that you can do is take your goal body weight times 0.8, and that is going to be the amount of grams to eat in protein every single day. And if you are strength training and doing 2 to 3 workouts each week, including these exercises, while eating a high protein diet and making sure you are progressing these exercises, there is no doubt that you will not build muscle in this area and you will start to get more of that toned look. Since you now know how crucial building muscle and losing fat is, one of the hardest problems that people run into is managing a diet. So in this next video, I am going to show you how that you can build a fat loss diet that sticks and allows you to shed pounds off your body and lose fat overall, which inherently is going to get fat off of your arm.